What if I told you that you could safely execute malware, test hacking tools, and break systems without any risk to your actual computer or network? Sounds impossible, right? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how to build your own cybersecurity home lab from scratch. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete virtual environment where you can experiment, learn, and yes, even intentionally break things without consequences. So stick around, because this is going to be a game changer for your cybersecurity journey. In the world of cybersecurity, having a dedicated environment to test new tools and master new techniques is absolutely essential. That's exactly what we're building today, your very own home lab. This setup will empower you to test those cutting-edge tools and, most importantly, give you the freedom to break things whenever you want to learn. When we're looking to test our new tools, or perhaps even execute malware to identify additional indicators of compromise, or understand exactly how it operates, we absolutely want to avoid running that malware on our production machines. This includes your personal workstation, or, even worse, a company's production machine. Instead, we opt for a virtual environment, preferably a sandbox one. Now, there are multiple vendors that enable us to create virtual environments. Some of those vendors include VMware, VirtualBox, and Windows Hyper-V. However, for this video, I'll be walking you through how we can create a basic home lab using VirtualBox. Alright, so first we'll begin with installing VirtualBox by heading over to their official site at virtualbox.org. Now, depending on the operating system you have, that's the one we're going to be downloading, so we can go ahead and click Download. From here, we know that this machine I'm using is a Windows host machine, so I'll go ahead and click Download on that option. While that's downloading, we can actually go ahead and check out the SHA-256 checksums as well. When you navigate to the checksum page, it will provide you with a list of SHA-256 hashes. This way, we can verify the downloaded file to determine whether or not it has been altered during transit. So, let's go ahead and do that. We'll head over to the Downloads directory where our file is located, open the terminal, and then I'll execute a getFileHash command on the VirtualBox file. Hit Tab, click Enter, and by default, SHA-256 is generated. What we can do is double-click that hash value and then paste it into the checksum page to see if it matches up. This confirms that the file in transit was not changed whatsoever. Now we can go ahead and double-click the VirtualBox installer to start installing it. We might encounter a compatibility issue or discover we're missing some software dependencies, but we'll address that when the time comes. From here, we notice that there's a Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 package dependency. So what we'll do is go ahead and install this dependency, and I'll put the link down in the description below, just in case you encounter this dependency requirement as well. I went and downloaded the dependency and installed it, so now we can go ahead and double-click the VirtualBox installer again, and now it doesn't give me that dependency error anymore. We are presented with some of the features which we can install, and they are all set to be installed by default. But you do have that option to customize it, which is quite nice. Here you can change where you want VirtualBox to be installed. For example, if you don't have enough space on the C drive, you can always install it on a different drive if you like. But in this case, we'll go with the default and hit Next. This will provide you with a warning that it will reset your network connection and temporarily disconnect you. Hit Yes and install the needed dependencies. Once it's done installing, you should see the completion screen. All you have to do is click on Finish, and then VirtualBox should automatically pop up. Now that we have VirtualBox installed, the next step is to create your virtual machine using the desired operating system you want. For example, Windows 10, Linux, you name it. In this demo, we'll be installing Windows 10, and, for the second machine, I'm going to be installing Kali Linux to act as our attacker machine. So, if you've never installed Kali Linux before, this will be a great learning opportunity for you. There are many ways to download a Windows 10 operating system image, but the safest way, in my opinion, is to create your own image. And here's how you can do that. but do keep in mind that you will require a valid license to install Windows 10. We'll navigate to the link which I'll list down in the description for you. Once we're on this page, we can go ahead and scroll down and click Download Tool Now. This will download what's called a media creation tool, which will help you generate a Windows ISO image file. So we can go ahead and double-click that to open the file. You'll eventually be presented with the license agreements page, and we can go ahead and hit Accept. It will say, getting a few things ready again. Once it's done checking things, you should be presented with this screen displaying two options. One to upgrade your PC, or two to create installation media. What we want to select is Create Installation Media, and hit Next. You have the option to customize your settings such as language, edition, and architecture, but I'll leave mine checked to use the recommended options for this PC and hit Next. Now we are presented with two media choices, to use a USB flash drive or an ISO file. We'll select the ISO file and hit Next. Save the ISO file anywhere you like, and it will start downloading. So now that my Windows image has been successfully downloaded, we can now jump over to our VirtualBox and start creating a virtual machine. We'll open up the window for VirtualBox and click on New. Here we can enter a name for our virtual machine and select the directory where we want to store our files. So I will go ahead and name our virtual machine Demo. I'll leave the folder as is. As for the ISO image, I will click on this drop-down, select Other, and now I'll find the image that I just downloaded. It was listed under Documents. Double-click the Windows image. At the bottom, there's an option where you can check Skip Unattended Installation, which I will do. That way, I can install the operating system manually. Now, you can uncheck this or check this. It's up to you. I'll click on Next. Here we have the options to configure our virtual machine specifications. However, do be aware that this will be relying on your computer's specifications. For this demo, I'll set my base memory for this virtual machine as 4 GB and we'll have it as 1 CPU. I'll click on Next. For the virtual hard disk, I'll leave it as 50 GB and hit Next. Now, this will give you a nice summary of what your settings are for this virtual machine. If you're good to go, click on Finish. And now we can go ahead and start powering it on. To power it on, you just hit this arrow that says Start. Now once it's running, we should be able to start seeing this Windows 10 setup. So we'll go ahead and select Next and hit Install Now. Once you're presented with the Activate Windows screen, go ahead and select I don't have a product key. As for the option, select Windows 10 Pro and hit Next. Accept the license terms. Here you have the option to upgrade or custom install Windows only. I'm going to select Custom, Install Windows Only, hit Next, and then now Windows 10 should be installing in the background. So now that we have Windows 10 installed, we'll jump into how to install Kali Linux. To install Kali, we want to head over to their site at kali.org. Once we're on their site, we want to click on Download, and we'll be presented with a bunch of different options. The nice thing about this operating system is that they have a pre-built virtual machine which we can download and import into our own VirtualBox, which is what we'll do now. You do have the option to go ahead and manually download this OS via an ISO file, similar to how we did it with Windows 10. Let's go and download the pre-built virtual machine. Looking at the download for Kali Linux, I noticed that it is a 7-zip file extension, meaning that if you don't have 7-zip installed on your machine yet, I would highly recommend it. To install 7-zip, we'll go ahead and navigate to their website at 7zip.org. Take a look at your architecture, if it's a Windows 64-bit machine or 32-bit machine, and download the appropriate one for you. In my case, it's a 64-bit machine, so I'll go ahead and download that. Once that is downloaded, I'll go ahead and install it. And it's installed perfect. To check whether or not you have a 32 or 64-bit machine, you can click on the Windows key and type in System. Click on the System information, and from here you can take a look at your system type. In my case, it's an x64, meaning it's a 64-bit machine. Another way to look at it is if you click on the File Explorer to open up your directories, click on the C drive. If you happen to notice two individual directories, your program files and the program files with x86, That's another telltale sign that your computer is a 64-bit computer. But if you only have one of these directories, it is likely your computer is a 32-bit machine. Kali has finished downloading, and there's one thing I forgot to mention, and that is the default credentials to log into Kali Linux. The default credentials are username Kali and password Kali as well. Let's head over to our Downloads folder. Now, since we have 7-zip installed, we can go ahead and right-click the Kali Linux archive, go to 7-zip, and click on Extract to Directory. Now that it's done extracting, let's head into that folder. All you need to do is double-click on the .vbox file. If you don't see the file extension, you can simply click on View, then click on Show at the bottom and click on File Name Extensions. Once we do that, we can now see the .vbox file extension. Once we double-click that, it should automatically be imported into our VirtualBox. Now that we have both of our virtual machines up and running, there are a couple of things that you should be aware of. Snapshots. Create snapshots prior to breaking things. So what do I mean by that? Well, before you test anything on your virtual machine, go and create a snapshot. What a snapshot is essentially creating a moment-in-time backup. That way, if you double-click malware and you configured your virtual machine properly, the malware goes around your virtual machine and breaks things. You can revert it back to your previous snapshot and everything is good to go again. To create a snapshot in VirtualBox, select this menu and click on Snapshots. At the top, you'll see an option that says Take. Click on Take. Now you want to provide a descriptive name for your snapshot. In this example, I'll call it Baseline Copy. Then your snapshot description, again, I'll say Baseline Copy, and hit OK. Now, VirtualBox will begin taking a snapshot of your virtual machine. For example, if you were to run ransomware or end up breaking your virtual machine, and you want to restore it, select the snapshot that you've taken previously. In this case, it was Baseline Copy, so I will select that. All we need to do is select Restore, click on that, and that's it.
Be very careful about overspeccing your virtual machines, especially if your own PC does not have enough resources. For example, if I have a 4GB RAM laptop with like 2 cores, I'm not going to be able to run 10 virtual machines simultaneously. So, in order for your computer to not die, make sure you properly spec out your virtual machines. That way, it doesn't end up using a bunch of resources and killing your machine. And that's a wrap! I hope you found this video informative and useful for your cybersecurity journey. If you enjoyed what you learned today, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Your support means everything to me. So, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.